The son becomes the father the son. This is all I can send you, Kal-El. It's not who I am underneath that defines me, but what I do. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Just because someone stumbles and loses their path doesn't mean they're lost forever. You're making me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. I let my father die because I trusted him. Because he was convinced that I had to wait. That the world was not ready. What do you think? With great power comes great responsibility.
Always,
Hello.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hello, Big Stu. How's things?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. Getting to play with action figures and read comic books all day, so can't be too bad.
The dream of every child to grow up to play with action figures, toys, and read comics all day long if possible, and watch movies that you want to watch, and nobody's telling you you can't watch this or you can't watch that. You can't go to that cinema. You can't spend your money on this. You know.
Well, I always tell my customers, I remember back when I was in kindergarten, and they all asked me, says, "What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to play with my toys and read comic books." And they told me I couldn't do that. And look at me now.
Look at me now, Mom.
Look at me now. I get to play with my comic books. I read my comic books and play with my toys all day.
So that said, we're talking about what was it, Marvel Legends? I don't actually think this is a Marvel Legends, but it is a Marvel from Hasbro. So Marvel's
that is a Marvel Legend.
It doesn't have to be a Legends thing, but it is a legend, right?
It is a legend.
It's
a retro carded legend.
Yeah, so it isn't this huge label that says, "Yeah, this is what it is." So
yeah.
that's our toy thing of today. But on the agenda, I actually came with an agenda today. I have a list.
Whoa!
And which is always a good thing, but also can be a bad thing because you end up having to stick with that. But I think the way we're going, it's best that we have an actual agenda because we tend to take a lot of time talking about one single topic than others, and toys kind of get tagged on at the end. However, today I'm going to try to mix it up. We'll open a one and then we'll go and look at another topic, or open one and look at another topic, so we can see all the different things over the years. We get an idea of all the different styles of Marvel Legends that Hasbro's done over the years. And I'm sure you've got, you know a lot more about that than I do in that sense. But yeah, if you guys are watching, share our link out to people, our YouTube link. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. We try to make this weekly. Last week we missed out because I wasn't feeling too well, and Big Stu had another commitment here to get to. I thought I was going to be able to handle it, but then my back's just in and out, and depending on the way I'm sleeping, it's like you're getting to the age where I already have back issues due to car accident. Now I'm getting with more back issues. It's getting worse and frustrating. So now. Tell us what you've been up to this week, anyway, with the store and stuff. Before we get anywhere.
Well, I've been been busy finally getting new comic books in. I'm getting Marvel comic books in from a random Penguin Random House. That's exciting. I've gotten the first 2 weeks of September in so far, and it's an exciting time because it's brand new comic. It's a hurdle in the comic book, owning a comic book shop. Frankly, I'm still not making any money yet. I'm still trying to make ends meet. One of the big things that is going to help me out is I did sell I sold a house the other day, or I'm selling a house, and I'm doing what they call here in the States called owner finance. I still hold on to the title until it's paid off. but that's going to give me a monthly income for about 25 years. You know, small
That's what
income.
you want,
So
right?
yeah, which I want. You know, and if I can do
Yeah.
it again, you know, I can do it again in another couple of years. That'd be great. You know, so
Yeah.
so that's going to help me out a little bit. You know, got some new toys in, got some Marvel Legends in that you were talking about. I got a whole bunch of stuff that I got to put on eBay, and I've been procrastinating. You know, just it's exciting. It's an exciting time, you know.
Talk about eBay. I was able to buy a whole bunch this week that I almost forgot there from a private sale from Facebook, a person on a Facebook group. This is like about 24 headless figures, right?
Yeah.
Because he customizes his own thing that he's got going on, that he likes to set up his own characters. So he takes heads off, you know, that he wants of other figures and puts it on that, and then he customizes them, paints them up. And so you've got something like, I think this is a Miles Morales, what is it called? Star-Lord, right? What if?
That's Star-Lord.
Yeah, Star-Lord body, but it's Miles Morales, what if head from
yeah.
And then you got wrestling figures. And then one of my mates said that, you know, this could make a great one of these, you know?
Yeah.
Painted it up. So because of the muscle figure, you could make but I mean so I gotta find a McFarlane head for this one. This is McFarlane Multiverse metal Wonder Woman.
Is that Wonder Woman?
Yeah, Wonder Woman figure. So, you know, stuff like that. And then also, you know, one of these Star Wars figures, no head.
It's Han Solo.
Yeah, I've got one with that's a you know, like a 12-inch of this. So, but you know, I've got another friend who basically said, "Hey, I have about 24 heads. Let's swap and change. You know, like work out what you want to keep, and I'll, you know, we'll work out a deal." So he's a customizer as well, but I don't customize. I think there's so much time and effort that, and you need to think about that. And as I mentioned before, I'm not into that. I'd rather just have a figure, you know, and put it on, you know, on display. That's me. I'm done. I'm good. I don't have to make it anything more than that. But I enjoy people who do, and I think those people deserve a lot of, you know, kudos, whatever.
Well, since you're talking about customizing, let me show you the custom figure that I have. I bought this figure at a G.I. Joe convention a couple of years ago, and it's one of my favorite Marvel character, and it's Wolverine, but this is Weapon X Wolverine, and the guy did it, and he dirtied him up, bloodied his claws. You know, I mean, he's just all, you know, dulled down the helmet where it looks like it's been battle worn. I mean, it is a really killer figure in my opinion. You know,
raise it up a bit.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, that's awesome. It's one of my favorite figures, to be honest. There's so much going on with it. You know, like you've got like the head helmet, you've got the waistcoat thing. I mean, not the waistcoat, like, you know, the things around the waist. You got the tube.
Yeah.
You know, you've got his blades, the pack at the back there. You know, the juice that's going into him. Is that from like actual them putting adamantium into him? Is that what's happening there, or is that something else?
So what that is? I don't know what's going on here. I think these were tubes from when they were injecting the adamantium into them.
Yeah,
but I can't remember. I don't know exactly what the packet's for, but that's how he looked in the Weapon X series when they introduced that in Marvel. Marvel Presents Weapon X. So that's
one of the early ones. So this is, I mean, earlier ones. This is one of the latest ones, right? The 2015.
Right. Well, I think this and that you have in your hand came out around the same year.
Okay.
This came out, but the guy that took it painted it and did them all up. So I really enjoy him. I think he's a really good figure.
Yeah, no,
And
that's really good. I mean, it's a decent job on that as well.
yeah,
Yeah, there we go. Hey, thank you, Marimitya. Awesome. So that's a virtual reality sensory pack, a control mechanism.
okay.
Exactly. It's been so long since I've read that series. Like this is like when it first came out, right? So, and I've always wanted to go
I
back and
find my
buy that lot.
I read the series, then I read the novel. They put out a novel for that
Okay.
story arc, and it was really well done. The big changes they made was they made that that they in the comic book series they added the claws to him.
Right.
In the novel, they said no, the claws already existed, just nobody knew about them. And
Exactly.
they
Yeah.
were dumping adamantium in, and more adamantium was going into the forearm than they
Yeah.
thought was necessary because it was programmed to go through into all of his bones.
Right.
So,
Because
but
I
on
think
this
it's
figure, I bought this figure like 5 years ago, and
okay.
I'll pose them, I'll put them on the shelf, and I'll leave
Yeah.
them there for 6 7 months or whatever, and I pick them up, and then 2 hours later, I'm messing with them and put them back on the shelf doing something different. It was,
Yeah.
this is one of the one of my favorite action figures I own right now.
I found this interesting one a little while back. Um, talking about Wolverine. This thing here, right? Let me just put that on solo so you guys can see it.
Oh wow!
Right. So this is a transforming Wolverine, right? So you can let me see if I can. So it comes with two heads, so you can hide this head behind it, and you've got that there, and I guess it's supposed to be like the Wolverine, and
Right?
so you've got the tail. I guess it's oh yeah, here we go. Tail's there, and that's about it. I don't know what else you're supposed to do with it, but like you've got the tail there, and I guess there isn't much in the sense of what you're supposed to do, but you have a Wolverine head, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's interesting, and that oh yeah, there's there's the feet part of it, which I guess you know it's hidden away, so it comes out like this.
Yeah.
It's got the toes, um, but he's already got his hands and stuff. But it's a weird little, um, transforming Wolverine. It's one of those, you don't think of something being out there until you see it. And I think this is a release by Marvel as well, or Hasbro, because I think Hasbro's the only one that has Marvel and Hasbro has the the toy licenses, but
That
I can't see
that might
much.
be Toy Biz.
There you go. And there's also Diamond Direct that does it as well, isn't it?
Right. Well, Toy Biz is no longer. I don't think Toy Biz is around anymore. They sold the rights for Marvel to do their Marvel, or Hasbro bought out Toy Biz, whichever way it worked.
Yeah.
But Toy Biz got in the market by doing Marvel action figures back in the day. I think they started
Right.
off with in the late '80s, early '90s with Marvel figures, and they only had 5 points of articulation.
Yeah.
But people loved them. The kids loved them. I liked them. So that looks like a Toy Biz to me.
Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
see any sort of write up. Usually you got to go feet. And Hawk said, over here being a toy designer, and then also on the back here. But it's such a weird figure. I mean, toy that you can't really go wrong with somebody else having it. So yeah, I guess Toy Biz then. But I was just putting it forward to just show this. Like it's not showing me the teeth on here. Come back here. Yeah, it's not. But he's got this real, style. You can see the sharp vampire, like Wolverine type thing.
Right.
Yeah. So the other thing is like I was just thinking about with the Origin series when they put out the Origin series, right? Wolverine Origin.
Right.
And when Crusader,
Quesada?
Quesada, yeah, Joe Quesada, and he put out, excuse me, when I put out the series, I'll show you, I'll put up this image here. Hopefully it comes up really cool. We'll be, that's when we realized that he had, you know, that's when they went like, there's this, he had these bones all the time in his arms, right, and his wrists, I should say. So yeah, you know, you can see it popping out there. That's the 6 issue series. I actually have
Right.
a complete set plus extra, you know, extra singles that I've collected over the years, number 1s and 3s and so on. But you know, the bone's always been there, right? It hasn't any, like when he was a child, it's supposed to suddenly pop out.
Right.
And they also did this thing with the son, where with the bone as well, where they had like Dakin had a third one. I think it was about 2012 or something. They put it out where
Yeah.
he had 2, and then there was a third one coming out, and that's like a highly sought after cover that they had. It was like a 1 in 100 variant.
Right.
And because I used to collect the Marvel Origins series, which is written by Daniel Way. He was a really good writer. It was, you know, it was like a mature reader series. So you had to be about 15 to buy.
When that first came out, that was a great series. And I think in 2002, 2003, it came out. That was a great series.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Yeah, it was well written, and you know, 1800s Canada, I think it was.
Yeah, 1800 Canada. And they introduced the idea of him having bone claws in Age of Apocalypse, I believe.
Right.
Story arc. Or just before that, when Magneto ripped all the adamantium out of his body, he showed the bone claws. I think that's when I remember him. When I remember him discovering that he had bone claws. It's funny is like when he started off, they were actually gloves. They were just gloves with claws on them, and then it turned into him popping out the claws. You know, that Weapon X program added the claws to him, and then it turned into they're actually bone claws. He's had so many retcons, it's silly.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem with comics is when is enough? You know, when is enough? When is it enough to say, yeah, this is all we need? We don't need you to tell us everything about this character. Don't go and like dilute it. You know, we don't want you to dilute, you know, what's going on here. And you know, as you can see the bone claw there, you know, and it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, overexposure, as we've learned with Spider-Man and Wolverine, it's like to a point where nobody cares about Wolverine anymore. He's not a standout character anymore. He's just a B character now because they've put him into everything, you know. And when you do that with a character, the magic goes, right? The special, you know, the interest wanes, and then suddenly he's just another, you know, where he should have been like the top tier character. Give him 3 books and that's it, nothing else. But they were putting into everything. Like he's showing up in Spider-Man, Wolverine, you know, Hulk, Wolverine, you know, Black Widow, Wolverine, you know.
I think the best series that they did with Wolverine, in my opinion, was I think it was Wolverine Volume 2 that came out in 2002, 2003. When they not retelling, but just a new story arc, but they really grounded him. You know, that first 20 issues, I believe, it was a very grounded story. You know, he was dealing with mobsters, he was dealing with gangsters and Yakuza and things like that, but very ground level type of villains. Instead of these, you know, world killing, you know, problems or whatever. But he's not a world killing problem solver. He is a grounded, you know, gritty individual. You know.
How do you think about this one here?
No, the second volume after this, it happened in the early 2000s. This is
you talking about the Daniel Way book?
Maybe. I don't know the. I try not to pay too much attention to writers and artists because I don't want to be tainted by my
Sure.
joy, you know.
Yeah. Let me find it. I should be able to find it real quick. Then we'll move on to one of the topics.
Yes, sir.
Now, you're talking about 2000. So 2000 would be the origin, I think. Okay, so that's
Maybe
2000.
2004.
Yeah, 2001 is when the origin, that one we were just talking about earlier, came out.
Right.
Um,
Had to been 2003, 2004. I just can't
yeah,
remember exactly the year.
2003. So I think it's, yeah, I see what you mean. This was one of the ones I was actually collecting at the time.
Yeah, very realistic artwork that was on the covers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that.
I enjoyed this series. I'm sad because this is when I had this is when I, when I had my comic shop, I sold this lot.
That's the one.
Yeah. So this is with Rucker, right? One of the guys I think talked about earlier about meeting from, who's Queen and Country and Whiteout with Kate Beckinsale. We talked about how his book is what got me into, his Batman book is what got me into reading DC Comics,
Right.
and into Batman becoming my favorite, character. One of my, basically he's my favorite, actually, to be honest, of all time now. Whereas Wolverine used to be my favorite, and Punisher now has just dropped because of due to situation and lack of care for the character. But yeah, like I like this because he in this series, like you said, Yakuza and all that crime, and going after ground level, street level stuff, not the universe, the world changing, blowing up planets kind of thing.
I could watch a TV series, kind of like you take the old the 1970s the Incredible Hulk story,
Thinking,
but
I was
change it
exactly like that in my head.
Wolverine, and I could watch that for days. Oh, that would be great. Coming into
Monster of the Week, right?
Yeah, there's a Monster of the Week or a Bad Guy of the Week.
Yeah.
You can even put other mutants in there that he has to deal with. He has to outsmart or has to, But yeah, man, I think that would have been that'd be a great series. Nice.
You could kind of put it like in a time probably about 20 years or 100, 20 years just before Logan, because it would work. Because you go, why did he get to be Logan? Right now, you can go, you can go to a prequel sort of TV show, and not Hugh Jackman, right? You don't want to put him in there,
right?
But someone with a similar build. Oh, talking about someone with a similar build that would do it is a jacked up, right? Who's that guy from Daniel Radcliffe? A jacked up Daniel Radcliffe, right?
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe would be a great great Wolverine.
A jacked up Daniel Radcliffe would make a great Wolverine. And the reason I say that, I saw this thing online just this week about where he was, running around in his underwear for this this TV show that he was on, and he just looked great, all jacked up. So have a look at this, right? So this is from I think it's called Miracle Mile or something like that, but let me grab this, because show with Daniel Radcliffe, right, jacked up like this. I'm gonna just turn the volume off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at that. You tell me he's not going to make a good, younger, because
thing is he'd be the same age as Hugh Jackman was when he started Wolverine.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you do a decent show in the vein of Hulk, vein of like Knight Rider type thing, right? Where you kind of give him like that 80s feel. And why don't even set it in the 80s of all things, right? So you give it the 80s universe and make that happen. So I reckon Daniel, I think he'd be perfect.
I think Daniel Radcliffe would be great, and also Egerton. What's his name? Egerton from The Kingsman.
No, or is it Joel Egerton?
What's that?
Let me just find out. Is it Joel Egerton?
Is it Joel Egerton? I can't remember his name. Where's my phone?
Kingsman. Right. So, Karen Edgerton.
Yeah,
Right. So let me see where is this kid?
he's one of the guys that
So
everybody's been talking about as well, being Wolverine.
I reckon Redcliffe's better. If
Yeah.
Redcliffe gets, settles down, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like, he can be a bit out there, but like I think he's got everything going for him, face wise, with the beard, and mannerisms. He can wild out. That one just showed that he could wild out. And I think yeah, he would make a great Wolverine. I think
Oh yeah.
Redcliffe would make a great Wolverine. But yeah, I mean, I saw that and I was like, but I think having a villain of the week type thing, yeah, can I agree more? Yeah, less muscle mass and, to be honest, better acting chops. Yeah. I mean, the kid grew up and grew into being this great actor, and he's actually done serious acting like that. Is it The Black Lady or something like that? He did this show where where is it? Let me just find it. Daniel Radcliffe. And that one, like, I mean, I didn't think much of the actual movie itself, but the like, even here, look at this, right? So are we on the same page here?
No, yeah.
He looks better than Taron as Wolverine. Like, everything there is perfect. He's got this weird, eyebrows, bushy eyebrows, got the chops, got the beard happening, and the rough hair and everything. You could just really easily do him that. And even there, when he's not that muscular, he still has a physique that looks to be right. And you give him about a year of just hardcore, body mass, and plus he's short. That's the other thing. He's short.
Well, Taron Egerton is also short. He also did the what you call I can't think of his
5'5". So Taron,
but he has he's a little bit more of that stocky build Taron Egerton has that Wolverine's classic for. Okay. He did Rocket Man. He's got some good acting chops as well. Both of them got good acting chops.
No,
either one of them
he's almost 6 foot.
Wolverine, I would not be upset about it.
Yeah, but Taron's actually 6 foot. He's only 5 centimeters away from 6 foot. So, he would have to like hulk down a bit, hunch down.
5'9". Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Redcliffe is 5'5". So between the two, I'll take Redcliffe just because of the height. Right. But also just a short physique. I think it also, that short stockiness is what makes Wolverine stand out from everybody. Because it's like having Pug, right? Pug from Alpha Flight. He's short and he just sticks out straight away, And you couldn't have anybody else play Pug apart from like someone like who's that guy of WWE? Short wrestler, right? Oh, the dwarf wrestler, and he's got a good head on him as well, and he's an actor as well. So never mind, what's his name, right but now. Yeah. So Hornswoggle, that was his name.
Hornswoggle?
Yeah, Hornswoggle. Yeah, I think that would be cool. So, but I mean, that's a pretty cool. I don't know why they don't. I think if they do the villain of the week, they could do a really ground level, less CGI. Just the fact that you're going up against criminals, right? You don't need a lot of CGI. You don't need to build all these amazing sets because there is an actual story, and that's something that we're going to talk about. My own story that I'm writing with Red Dot, my character, next week with Hawk. But there's a story that is about trafficking that comes out of the Wolverine series from the 20 what was that? 2003, right?
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah, where is that again? I'll just find it. Yeah, so this one here. So there's that was the thing about it. It's like grounding him into, you know, helping everyday folk. It's a kind of like gave him the Punisher feel. Like, what do you do if, you know, if you just, you know, actually, that's what I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused with the Punisher story about him going after coyotes. So there's a story where Punisher goes after coyotes who are, you know, crossing the border and bringing people in and, you know, to work for them and the drugs and all that, mules and stuff. And he goes after them. But also, you know, child trafficking rings.
Right.
But this, yeah. So, you know, like, I mean, you can really work with the criminal supervillain type elements if you did a weekly show, because that way you know, you don't have to have everybody showing up like, you know, blowing up buildings. You don't need that. You just need,
No.
you know, rooms being, you know, broken, people going through tables, you know, glass smashing, fights, and you know, like right at the start of you know, what was that one where he was in Canada? Was it the first one where he's just coming into a pub, right, into a bar?
Oh yeah.
And that scene,
The Wolverine.
You know,
That was the second movie. In
right?
the origin movie. Yeah.
And that one, you know, that sort of has that feel. It's like it gives you that. Was it 2013? Can't be 10 years ago, can it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's 2013. Yeah.
Bar scene. So let me just bring that up so you can see what we're talking about. Right. So this is a 3-minute scene. It shows us, and then we'll move on. So let's see. So this one here.
Yeah.
I'd like to buy this man. What's your name, mister?
Yeah. That Wolverine 2013. Marumitia.
Logan.
Yeah.
And that's a poison broadhead, which last I heard was illegal. Go ahead, ask me where I found it. Ask me.
Where did you find it?
Well, funny you should ask. I pulled it out of the back of a grizzly. Where the shot didn't have the wind or the balls to track the animal properly and put it out of its misery. Instead of dropping a lethal dose of poison, it led into the bear, made him crazy, killed 5 people.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't dip my arrows on anything.
In that case, you've got nothing to worry about. Sorry, Gene.
I wouldn't bother with them. Most of them will die soon anyway, without your help. 3 of them are weak from you. In the same trouble.
There we go.
I'm gonna get. Have you got music on at the back there, Stu? Or is that like?
Yeah, I do have some music on the back. Let me see if I can turn that off.
Get done. Yeah, otherwise it'll get done for like copyright. Sorry about that, man. So
All right.
yeah, like Mary Media was saying, was it a Rogue One or X1? No, but yeah, that one. But so yeah, I think, you know, when you look at that, he's just dealing with ground level stuff, right? He's talking about people, not poachers, or I mean, not poachers, but people not just, you know, eating what they kill, or, you know, because there is a thing where people, you know, what's that called? Big game people who just do it for the thrill of killing, you know, animals, and not actually doing it because they want to use up what's there, you know, for meat and stuff, and just leaving, you know, animals to die out. And in that case, was just poisoning the environment and actually poisoning people, and people dying from it. So that sort of story I think would work perfectly in a TV series where you don't have to worry about friggin' aliens out there, and all that stuff. And I think it'll be just, perfect. And I guess, they don't want to take a chance anymore on actually good storytelling. And they just want to put out rubbish over and over again, like the superhero cape. I mean, no capes there, right? No costume there. He's just
Yeah.
walking around in his regular, long coat, whatever, that sort of
Yeah.
figure, right? And without his head, but he's not old. And that's where I would love to see Daniel Radcliffe show start. And you lead him into, and with the mind that like he will end as a, as a
As a superhero.
no, as a thing driver, the limo driver, right? So you kind of like just him away from, like, you can mention the X-Men, you can mention Captain America doing his thing wherever, because he's one of those snarky guys. That's what I love about him, because I love that snarky attitude that he has always had, and you could do it like an M15 title rating, where it's like for mature what viewers, not for like kids, not a PG thing. And so you put it on at like a 8 or 9:30 at night to 10:30 sort of hour, whatever, and you're good to go. And you sell heaps of stuff, heaps of toys and figures. The other one here is good. It also helps that particular character that there's decades of unknown history where you can, exactly. That's where I was getting at with that. Where it's like you can go put him in the 80s and there's all these stories that we don't know about. The only time we see him is in hero books, right? Nowhere on his own. And I think, like you mentioned with the volume 2, he's out there doing his own thing, and you're allowed to. He's good at doing his own thing, and he's allowed. He's a solo animal, right? Wolverines aren't like pack animals as such, but like they're very, they're good on their own. And I think it'll be. I mean, no, Wolverines. I think they are pack animals, but like they're very too aggressive to be, around others. So if you let them, come up, it's a good selling point for a solo show, right?
Yeah.
You put a rogue every now and then.
Why not? Why pigeonhole them in just the 80s? Why don't you pigeonhole them into every decade from the 1800s on?
Yeah.
Let them fight in the Civil War. Let them fight in the, in
200 years.
In the 50s and the, whatever. I mean, it's just, there's plenty of time, lots of time periods that he could be in. Shoot, you could show him in World War II fighting alongside Captain America.
Yep.
I mean, I think they did that in the comic books at one point, but put him in all the decades, make it that. And then that way you can use Danny Radcliffe. You don't have to worry about him aging out, getting too old, because you can just move him around to different decades, and he's always looks somewhat the same.
Yeah. And the other thing was that, like, with that, he goes up. He doesn't have to go. His backup team, right? Supporting cast doesn't have to be super powered beings. The whole thing is that everybody gets stuck up about like everything has to be about this huge world, things. And I think because of that, there's so much lost, and the story becomes diluted because all you can focus on is that, the capes and tights and stuff. So I want to show you this one here, right? We were talking about Captain America. So there is this. Where are you gone? There we go. So there's this image here, and this, I think it's part of that same age time. Same, 2013, around that time. You've got him here, and you put this just a dark costume. He doesn't have to wear yellow, that classic yellow and blue bright that makes him stand out to be a superhero. That whole, stands out in the crowd. You don't have to have him like that. You can have him in the dark, and just or just black jeans and a black t-shirt, and and then a robot, a trench coat over the top, a brown one over the top. You're good to go, because he's not never really been about the costume. It's more been about the blade and his chops, right? His his look, his features, and his shortness. That's it. And so much can be done there, but who's going to do it? I think the like
I think we're just wishing. We're wishing on
yeah,
on something that we're not going to see. You know.
but I mean,
It-
it'll probably take a decade before they even think about doing something, if anything.
I think it's
like
going
that.
to. What's going to happen is it's going to happen at a point where you and I don't care anymore. We're like, oh,
That's
okay.
it.
I don't really care now anymore.
Yep.
Wish you would have done this, 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, but
Mm.
now I don't care, but
That's it. So, but if they just decided, okay, you know what, what I would do, like if it was me, if I was a executive, I would go and go, hey, you know what, what's his name? Greg Rucka. You're a crime writer, right? You do crime stories, right? You do soldier stories. You do all this sort of stuff. How about you? We've got people out here talking about this sort of stuff. How about you write a show for us, right? Where Wolverine is just, villain of the week, this type of procedural TV show, right? And I would, that's something that would actually get people to, be into, I think people will support that. I think there's this idea that, people won't support certain things. People won't support certain things because you don't do it well, right? And you don't get the right person involved to do it well. So if this is the story you're talking about, Coyote Crossing, right? Yeah, that is the story, right? So that is about like the the border, right? With like coyotes being like people you pay money to get you through under the ground, whatever, inside trucks like meat, like cattle across the border and committing crime, right? So that's like a three episode story arc you could just tell for part of that whole series, because you're not having to blow up things all the time, and he could just be in, be one of the coyotes, right? I mean, not one of the coyotes, but one of the people being trafficked, right? You could just have the whole truck for a whole episode, him talking to people, what their stories were, how he came into that, why he took it up and stuff. I'm kind of thinking, and there was a TV show recently, Bull. Was it Bull? Was it Bull? No, not Bull. It was about a cop, like older cop, and he goes into the opiate things, like the guys who are doing, it was really well done. I love it. It was 10 episodes per season, and it's just finished. I can't remember his name, but he's like he's not bulky. He's just an average looking dude with white balding kind of hair. I just can't remember what it's called, but it was really good. But something like that, anything where you got a character and it's about people, right, and it's about a character helping people, you're going to endear that character to the the audience at large. When you talk about him going to Madripoor, the fake Japan, of that kind of, I think is it Madripoor, fake Japan, or is it Thailand? I can't remember what it's supposed to be for, but in place of, but that sort of criminal element, right, where you've got like there's the last time I read something about that was like the Poison Lady was holding court, right, who's part of the Deadpool universe, but and you're bringing in like different cultures into it as well, like you're bringing Latin America, South America, you bring in, you can go to Canada, you can go to Europe, with that. Like if you could tell an amazing story about human trafficking with Wolverine, which has already been told about with not refugees, but like people smuggling. That's what it is, people smuggling coyotes, and you do a great story, but they don't know how to tell great stories anymore. And as Robert Meyer Burnett said previously, I think it was him. Don't want to allocate to him, but like one of the guys said that, like, what was it? Paul Chato, that Disney doesn't know how to do TV. They don't know how to do TV. They don't know how to do procedurals. They don't know how it works, where you can do a standalone story per episode, yet it's got an overarching storyline. And so they end up with 20-minute episodes when it should be an hour-long episode, like a 45-minute show. And and they don't know how to keep it to that format. They go short, they go long, and it's like, we're streaming, so nobody cares, But it's like people, will care if you actually do a good job with it. And I mean, like, I like watching procedurals, I do, and like I will, there's certain episodes I'll watch every week to make sure I keep up with it. One of them was like, which I really miss, was Sherlock. One of the most recent ones was Sherlock, and the other one before that was Lucifer. I love Lucifer. Imagine doing a crime procedural with the King of Hell, right? Lucifer,
Right.
And bring him out of the Sandman universe into that, and they did it right. It was 6 seasons it went for. That's how good it was. They even ended up finishing on Netflix. But Tom Ellis became this huge superstar because of it, as well as, not to mention, the African lady who lived in New Zealand for a while and was on Spartacus, and then also went and played, was on, what was her name? Was on Lucifer as, let me find her name. It was Leslie Ann Brandt, right? Mazikeen. So she played Mazikeen, and it was just, that was a TV procedural, right? With supernatural elements done right. And I think this is why, what Disney does with these characters is useless, because they don't get TV writers or crime writers, right? And if you got,
they're just too worried
They're
just too worried about making everything for a younger audience, or all inclusive, where
that's it.
just make the story.
Yeah.
Telling a story doesn't necessarily have to be inclusive. If you want to include yourself and then read the story. If you don't want to be included in the story, then don't read the story. That's the one biggest thing that we're having a problem with nowadays is people forget that you have the ability to switch the channel. And Disney wants everybody to be happy, but you can't make everybody happy. You just can't. My last comment on a Wolverine periodical show is I would hit heavy on flashbacks to him in the 40s, 50s, 1800s, the early 1900s or whatever, but I would base it in the 70s versus the 80s. I would introduce characters such as Dazzler, those hard-hitting 70s Marvel characters that aren't getting a lot of play right now.
Right.
Introduce those guys into the mix. Where you still have some of these, where you're still hinting that he's part of this bigger world,
right?
But it's still closed in. We're only focusing on on his journey right now, and be completely before the X-Men.
Exactly. That's what I want to get
before the X-Men.
Yeah, I want to have him run into people, but not knowing the team's about to be formed or he's getting called up to the team. Doesn't really know there's a team, right? But
Right.
the other thing you can have him has, because he become Alpha Flight, because they go after him as well. They want him to be part of their team. So you could have that element. But
Mhm.
where have these other people been? Like, he's the oldest, he's supposed to be the first one. But there's so much you can do with this sort of
yeah.
series. You can really delve into
Oh,
what
yeah.
made him what he is now, right? Why did he become a superhero? All these things you just sort of add, and now you go, now he's part of the X-Men.
Right.
And I think, yeah. So I'm going to finish on that.
1.21 gigawatts. That is the name of my store. It's also the amount of electricity needed for time travel. And that's how you're going to feel when you step into my store. You're going to feel like you step back into 1985. My store is all about the comics, toys, and nostalgia. If you have that nostalgia itch that needs to be scratched, come to my store. It's on 601 North Main Street, Borger, Texas. Again, I am 1.21 gigawatts, comics, toys, and nostalgia. The greatest toy and comic shop in a 50-mile radius in the great panhandle of this great state of Texas.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Really appreciate you guys joining us. I mean, we covered a bunch of things. Who would love to see as the next Wolverine for the next 20 years? I think he'd be making Daniel Radcliffe would be awesome. Also, racism and publishing, right? Which was kind of a downer after being so high up talking about Wolverine and then coming right down because of racism and literature. And then we got our 2 toys out, and this is kind of the focus I want to go in for us, a kind of a format for us going forward. We get to talk about what's awesome about our entertainment industries, our collectabilities, our fandoms really, and pop culture. So thank you, Big Stu. Have a good night, mate, and wherever everybody else is, thank you so much for joining in for both of us. From Big Stu.
Have a good one, guys. Hope to see you next time.
All right. Goodbye, guys. See you next week.
All right. God bless.